Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, in today's video, it is going to be the Gley Forbidden Sanctuary setup. So let's get right on into it. Starting off with the maneuvering module, we're going to go with mid-air maneuvering. So mid-air maneuvering is going to be here specifically because, you know, we want to take advantage of our movement. So that's the main thing. Next up, we are going to go with the red mod. With the red mod, for once, we are going to be using Predator Instinct, specifically because of, well, 1 or 2 weapons. So we'll get to that a little bit later. Now, with Gley, the main focus on everything is cooldown and duration. So let's start off with cooldown. With cooldown on Gley, you're going to want to go with MP conversion as well as nimble fingers, and then we're going to use we're going to use 1 focus on mod to get ourselves the loop. Doesn't matter which one you use, so let's say focus on dimension. There you go. We'll go with that one for this instance specifically. Now, duration with Gley is going to be the next thing. So for duration, we'd want to go with skill extension as well as maximize duration, and then also battle of stamina. So we're going with all 3 of them. Nice and easy. The next thing we are going to go with is HP, because of course, you know, we want to tank with Gley. So increased HP is going to be more than good for that. The next 2 things is a little bit of extra firearm attack with Gley, because this does make a difference. So shot focus, and then HP collector is going to be needed for, of course, you know, recovering HP with Gley. Now, with Gley over here, if you do have a quick look at this, you'll see that we are already in a perfect loop. So this mod here is optional. So with this, we are going to be using Kuiper rounds. Kuiper rounds. This is specifically for just the most damage. The way that this works, from my understanding, is you want more recoil increase and then more base recoil so that it triggers the most. So that's what you're going to want. You're going to want a blue and gold over here. And then to match this, we are also going to be using weak point analyst, which is going to give HP recovery and also weak point damage, specifically when you use this with Gley. So we are building into some nice weak point kicks. So that's what we've got going on over here. Now, the rest of the setup, let's get on into that. So with this, now with Gley, let's have a look at the reactor. Now with the reactor, it's cooldown duration up, but before we focus on the reactor and everything else that you want on this setup, let's grab the weapons. The weapon number 1 is going to be restored relic. Weapon number 2 is going to be the last dagger. And then weapon number 3 is going to be the blue beetle. We'll come back to these weapons shortly, but yeah, let's continue. With the reactor, it doesn't matter what type of reactor you use, as long as there's cooldown and duration up on there. That's going to be the main thing that you want. So yeah, it could be any reactor, just cooldown duration up. Now for the external components, we're going to be going with two-piece sets for Gley. The first thing you want is duration, so I'm going to be going with 2 pieces of Firebrand. I'll go with the Firebrand sensor and power, and then for the other 2 piece you want Shell Crusher. This is because the fire rate with Gley is absolutely essential to getting yourself a really nice good run in, so that's what we are going with. For the ideal stats, you'd want max HP and fire resistance. For the sensor, you'd want HP recovery modifier and chill resistance. For the memory, you'd want defense and electric resistance. For the processor, just toxic resistance. And that's pretty much the ideal stats for Gley. Across all of your cores, you are going to want to go with max HP and defense. Fairly simple. Next up, let's have a look at Gley's Arche tuning. Now, Arche tuning with Gley is fairly simplistic. It's kind of the same thing almost every single time because she is a gunning character. So for the Arche tuning, we're going to go over this way, and then we're going to first go over to here and grab the enhanced double strike for more multi-hit chance and multi-hit damage. We'll also grab the multi-hit from here. Then we're going to go all the way up into firearm attack, and then we're going to go into crit rate as well as crit damage for Gley, and that's the tree pretty much done. Nice and easy. Not gonna have very many changes when it comes to that one. Next up, let's have a look at the weapons and inversions for Gley. So starting off with the restored relic, you want to make sure very much that you focus on getting yourself 3 fire rate cores at 20%. Even if you get them at 20-20-19, that's not okay. Get them to 20-20-20 because it makes a drastic difference in your fire rate. So you 1,000,000% want to be focusing on getting the correct fire rate because it makes a big difference. For the modules on the relic, this is what I go with, and this is what you should be rocking as well. Another thing I wanted to mention, you might be confused as to why we are using fire on the relic instead of electricity, because the dungeon is Order of Truth. Now with the round or focus round inversions gone, you can see the relic has fire built into the weapon at 87,851. Focusing on the element that's just built into the weapon will give you the most damage in this instance. So if you ever need a relic for Gley, it's always a fire one. Same with Serena, it's a fire one. Next up, let's have a look at the last dagger. Now the dagger in this instance is fairly simple. It's going to be an electric dagger. In this instance I had 219 fire rates, so this is cooked and I need to fix this. I didn't even realize this. I don't use the electric dagger very often, in case you can't tell, but this needs to be fixed, so I need to get them to double 20s. Other than that, these are the modules that you'd want to be using on your dagger. Real life fighter is best for Gley, and yeah, this is what you'd want to be running. Next up, the blue beetle. Now I know some people might be kind of confused about this, but this is one of Gley's best weapons for absolutely annihilating bosses. This is the weapon used inside of her Warcrasher build and stuff like that as well. So this is what you would want to be going with for your cores and your substats on there. And then for the actual build on your beetle, it's just going to be a crit and a weak point build with a little bit of additional damage and sharp precision shot to get yourself into the nuking territory once you hold down your fire rate. So that's going to be your weapons for Gley. For your inversions, I want to recommend going with strike point amplification. This is good for, of course, weak point damage and with multi-hit because we will be using the relic. Then you'd want to go with max HP with pain suppression, and then I've chosen the wrong one over here. You'd want to go with cellular stimulation for more HP on here as well. So that's fairly simple. So now let's talk about Ancestor mods. For Ancestor mods with Gley, you kind of just want cooldown duration up on there is going to be the main thing, and in this instance I have duration up, so I'm just going to be replacing one cooldown module in this instance, and my loop is still perfect. It's a 12.2 and 12.2, but the biggest difference is it's now 12 seconds, which is longer, so you do want the trade-off. Ideally you'd want to go with something with cooldown and duration up on it, but the biggest or most important stat in my opinion is duration, because this dictates how long you will be firing with Gley. So if you can get yourself a red duration up with Gley, even that as an Ancestor mod is going to be great. So that's what you would want to go with for Ancestor mods with Gley. Now let's have a look at some Gley gameplay inside of the Forbidden Sanctuary. So this is a run that I did a short while ago, so let's have a look at the gameplay. Now with this, I was off stream and stuff like that, you know, it's still a completely valid run, of course, and everything, so yeah, let me show you how you play it. Now with this over here, the main thing you start off by doing is just activating your first ability, and then activating your third ability, and just going ham with the relic. Now with how long my loop is on my infinite ammo, it just works very well in terms of how this works in just, you know, nuking everything. Using the correct element makes a massive difference. Now I'm going in with the blue beetle on this boss over here. Ideally you want to be aiming at the orange or yellow point inside of his mouth, activating my third ability again to get my loot back, and you can just see in general this does melt him quite nicely. The blue beetle is better than the dagger at nuking bosses in my opinion, and because this is Gley, I don't really even need to pick up the infinite ammo buff because Gley has infinite ammo in her third ability, so I don't even bother. Now With this, you know how it goes with Gley. It's literally just run and jump simulator and just use the dagger for everything. The relic for everything. And elemental matching doesn't really make a difference because you can just see how absolutely insane this is. And I'm just slowly making my way towards the back of this room over here, letting the relic spread that way. And then I can just go over here, straight down, hit the wall, and now I can just start spraying into the next horde of mobs. You kind of just want to do little optimizations like that to cut down on time, but this in general is a fairly solid run. I did choose the lazy way on this run just to be just so that you viewers would find it a little bit easier to copy what I'm doing if you do like what you're seeing. With this as well, you just want to be nuking everything with Gley. You know how it goes. Gley is just very easy, very cozy, and she's a very strong Descendant. And you can see here just as well, just 1 or 2 bullets of everything just nukes everything, and you just slowly go in with walking. You're just going to want to aim correct, so, you know, just taking advantage of the way that the game pulls it. Now you can see here on this boss, using the blue beetle and aiming at the orb in the middle, which is his weak point. Look at his HP absolutely fly down. The best weapon in this dungeon for bossing at least is 1,000,000% going to be the blue beetle, even for the final boss. Now with the final boss, his weak points aren't really clear to me, and when I was messing around with it, his weak points were kind of hard for me to find, so I just decided to use the relic. It's easier to use the relic, plus in the boss room lots of other mobs spawn, but we'll get to that a little bit later. You can see just in general the way that this is. It's simple, it's lazy, you don't really have to put too much effort into it. And I know Gley is a favourite of a lot of people. It's just simple, and we can appreciate that. In a time where every Descendant needs to become a gunning, bossing, mobbing, wanking, every type of Descendant, you just appreciate the simple things, and you appreciate how simple Gley's gameplay is. It's literally just press 2 buttons, hold a weapon, and annihilate everything. She's one of my favourite Descendants for a reason, and I really do enjoy playing Gley. Not even just preseason nostalgia for her, but she's genuinely just that guy. Now, you can see here, going even further forward, it's just a case of mowing down everything that you see and taking advantage of, well, the relic and the crazy levels of multi-shot. So we're almost at the boss fight now. We're almost done, and I'll show you how the boss fight goes in general. At the beginning of the boss fight, I will use the blue beetle, just short and simple, just to show you how much the HP the blue beetle can annihilate in a short period of time, to show you that it is still a viable option at least. So over here, just going to use the relic and get rid of the mobs around the boss, and then I'm going to switch over to the beetle. This is what I mean by the mobs around the boss. They can become very irritating, but once you do start hitting your damage with the beetle, you can see in general that the beetle would be able to deal more damage than the relic in general, but the relic is just so easy that why would you bother using anything else? It's another scenario of, you know, the relic is just the lazier option. Plus, the biggest upside is whenever these other mobs spawn, they're not going to get in your way. It's literally just run and jump simulator with Gley, so it's nice and easy. Simple gameplay at its finest. So, you can see here, just, you know, yeah, simple. And even for the second phase, or the red bubble in the second phase, this will also work out fairly well. I have run this in public as well. In pubs, works almost as good, if not just as good as solo. The one thing I feel like they really nailed in this dungeon was the balance, and there you go. That would be the one case where I would use the dagger just to spray into the red orb over there to get the boss coming out of there a little bit faster. You could also use the beetle, or hell, you can even just use the relic if you want. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but yeah, I like to use the dagger for that, so the dagger at least has a purpose in the setup. So that's going to be my main thing. But you can just see here in general, it's just about cutting the boss's health down. If you do figure out, or you do want to use the beetle is 100% faster than the dagger. Faster than the relic. But you just have to deal with mobs coming all around you. So I think for convenience sake, I would personally just use the relic. It's just less work. And yeah, boss fight's almost over. Just going to finish him off over here. And boom. There you go. a nice run with Gley, not too bad in terms of how I ran, and the time at the end of that was 5 minutes 45 seconds, so sub 6 minutes, and for a gunning Descendant that's not Serena, honestly, this is good. This is a solid time, so I'm more than happy with that time anyways. So guys, that's basically been this video on Gley in Forbidden Sanctuary, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button, and if you think I've missed anything out, please do leave it in the comment section below, and yeah, thank you. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.